Ooh, that's more like it. It's more me. Welcome back to Hustle and Dad. For those that don't know me, my name is Ren. Thank you so much for watching another video. For those that haven't watched before, please check out some of my older videos. If you like, please pound that like button. Please share, subscribe, that will all help me. So obviously, the channel's called Hustle and Dad. But I have yet to cover the hustle part. I've covered a lot of dad videos. You can check those videos out. But where's the hustle? Well, that's what I want to address with you today. Well, today, I want to share with you how I went from a 9-to-5 job to becoming an entrepreneur. So before I start, I gotta give you a quick synopsis of who I am, how I grew up, and I'll try not to go too much into detail. So my parents migrated here in 1982 from Indonesia, and they wanted to chase the American dream. And like most typical Asian parents, they were very strict. They had high expectations when it came to school, and I'm pretty sure they wanted me to be a doctor. But I had different plans. Well, actually I had no plans. When it came to school, when it came to homework or anything regarding studying, I was just not about it. I had a lot of fun in school, high school especially. I was very social, and don't get me wrong, I was a very smart kid, I was very sharp, but if I wasn't interested in something, I just wouldn't apply myself. To kill some time, what I ended up doing in classes was draw, and I really got a chance to learn about myself creatively. So I drew a lot. I wrote poems and I wrote songs, and at one point in high school, I really wanted to be an underground rap, hip-hop MC, but once I got into college, I started smoking a lot more weed, and I don't know if it was because I got a little bit more lazier or if I just came to realization. Okay, airplane, come on. Or if it was just that I came to a realization that I sucked. So I threw those plans out the window and didn't have any more plans. So I coasted through high school. I was probably a C- average student. And once I graduated high school, I went to a local community college. The only reason I did that is because I wanted to please my parents, and they offered to pay for it, and they just really wanted me to finish college. But things really didn't change. I took classes that were really fluff, things that I would be interested in, like Asian American studies and creative writing, things like that. And when I was 18, I finally was able to get my first job. Because, again, my Asian parents, they wanted me to concentrate on my studies in high school and not get a job before I was 18. So finally, when I was 18, I secured my first job, and it was in telemarketing. It was a sales job. So I was working this job, kind of going part-time to college, and I decided to move out when I was 18, 19 years old. The reason being was I just needed to get out of my bubble, being inside the house with my parents, having their rules. Just needed to get away from it. And I did. It taught me a lot, and I ended up quitting school, and I really just worked to support my lifestyle. And my lifestyle was really just partying, smoking and drinking. That's really what it was. And again, I'm just being honest with you guys. And I was going out to 3, 4 in the morning every single night, and I moved back home about a year after I moved out, and I was doing the same thing, following to the same patterns. And one day my dad went up to me and said, "Hey, what are you doing with your life?" I really didn't know how to answer that. So he said, "I may have an opportunity for you. It's a job, it's a sales position. You do outside sales managing accounts, and these are big accounts. What you need to do is start off with the warehouse, driving forklifts, packaging stuff, learn the business from the bottom up. Depending how fast you learn everything, anywhere between 4 to 6 months you can get that position. But the catch is, you have to move up north to San Francisco." And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just my subconscious telling me that I needed to change, me feeling guilty about not having a plan and just partying all the time. I immediately answered with no hesitation. I said, "Yes, I'll do it." So I moved up to San Francisco. My best friend Chuck moved to San Francisco with me about 6 months after I did. We both became sales reps, and we started becoming men in the Bay Area. I learned a lot, learned how to manage accounts. I learned the networking side. I dealt with a lot of people that were older than me. At that time, I think I was about 21, 22 years old. I lived up there for about 5 to 6 years, and that's where I met my wife. And I moved back down here for a promotion in commercial sales. 6 months later, Teresa, my then girlfriend, now wife, moved back down. And in my move back down, I went through a lot of different things. I went from the commercial sales position to owning a restaurant, and that was my dad's restaurant, but I ran the whole operation and had no experience at all, but gained a lot of experience in about 2 years. Sold that business, I went into life insurance, hated that job, worked there for about a year, and that was kind of the tipping point of what did I really want to do with my life? What would give me purpose? And that's a key thing, guys, purpose. With what you do you have purpose? And that was very important to me. And I was young, I was in my 20s, and one day I was working out at the gym, and I was like, I think I could see myself working here, but I never really thought of it as a career option. So I applied, I got the job, loved it. First week, I started off as front desk, dabbled a little bit in sales, made my first few sales, and the manager was like, okay, I think he's ready for sales. Let's put him in a sales position. And I remember seeing my peers around me, coworkers, they were just goofing off, about the same age. Some of them were a little bit younger than me. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna be laser focused. My next goal is to take the assistant manager's job. It took me 2 months to take his job. And I wanted a gun for the general manager position. It took me another few months, and I got the general manager position. Then years later, I met one of my mentors in life. His name is Steve Kleinfelter. He was one of the originators who opened up 24-Hour Fitnesses. He was getting ready to launch the first ever franchises for Crunch Fitness. And I really wanted to be a part of it because after getting to know him, he was just a good, solid guy. His approach on fitness and sales were like nobody I've ever met in that position. And we saw eye to eye because the secret to my success in sales was that I was very relatable. I listened, and I had passion for what I sold. I was a #1 believer, and I drove in sales with pure heart. And I felt like we saw eye to eye in that sense. So after over a year of interviews and meeting for lunch, he finally had an opportunity for me as a general manager, pulled my weight, got promoted to district manager, and through all this time, I was smoking cigarettes. Ew. Doesn't make sense to smoke cigarettes and be in the health or fitness industry, right? But I knew I had to change because I had been smoking cigarettes off and on for about 16 and a half years at this point. And so I made a pact with some of my friends and we stopped smoking cigarettes. By the way, during that time, I had a couple other different ventures. One was in apparel, and I partnered up with a couple of my friends, and we both had careers at that time. So it really didn't pan out because we didn't have time for it. So fast forward again to me smoking and quitting. I made a pact with a couple of my friends and we said, let's quit cold turkey. So we did, and we got introduced to vaping. Ironically, my mother was the first person to show me what vaping was. Not that she did it, but she had friends that knew about it. So I did my research and I purchased the product, and instantly I was sold. It helped me quit. I tried smoking cigarettes 3 months after. It was the nastiest thing I've ever tasted. So I knew it worked. I felt a lot cleaner. I felt like I could breathe, I could smell, I could taste food, I could sleep better. And by the way, all of the stuff that you see on the TV, on the news is propaganda. I won't go into a lot of details on that. That could be a whole separate video because everything that you see on TV about vaping is false, unless it's good. But I'm speaking out of bias, but I'm also speaking factually. Let's talk about something else. Let's move it on. So that's how I got into my first real business. That business in the vaping industry, we created one of the first companies in this vaping industry that was actually a brand, where we had merchandise like t-shirts. We actually only started off with t-shirts, and that's probably crazy to some people, but we sold over 100,000 shirts easily, maybe 200,000 worldwide. You'd see our shirts everywhere, at every convention. You'd see our shirts in Disneyland. I mean, no joke, it was everywhere. Matter of fact, it was on TV. It was on The Deadliest Catch. It was on the band Creed wore it at one of his concerts. DJ Chucky wore it at one of his concerts. Daniel Strauss, the former champion of Bellator, wore it. I mean, there was a bunch of people, and there were actually celebrities, there were actually cameos on different TV shows other than what I just talked about. The list was really long, and we gained traction. But the way that industry was like this, especially with regulations. And what I learned from that experience was we partnered up with some other companies, and almost every company that we partnered up with, we got screwed. And there was a lesson to be learned there. As a new entrepreneur, other entrepreneurs can smell if you're a novice. So we got taken advantage of. And so now when I do business, I learn from those things. And so how did I get back into the fitness industry? Well, something that was calling me back to fitness. I just loved the aspect of being able to help somebody and help save their lives. And my good buddy, one of my closest friends, Nare, had been running a program, and ironically, we both worked in the same gym before. When I was a general manager, he was a personal trainer. And he ended up doing his own thing and creating his own success through a business that was fully functional and operating and doing very well. And one day I just said, hey, let me just talk to him and see if he's interested in opening up another location. But my vision was not opening up just 1 or 2 locations. I wanted to open up hundreds of locations. And so we met up, and the thing about Nare and I are, we're both hustlers, and we both have visions, and we're both go-getters, and we would like to take strategic risks. We met eye to eye, and we decided to get together in business, rebrand, rename his current business, and open up another location. And that's where I am today with One Love Fit Club Walnut, where I'm a partner with my good buddy, Nare. So what happened to my previous business? I sold that business. We really didn't have much of a choice with the way the industry was going, and we just decided to cut our losses, and we didn't lose. So that was a win for us, and we learned a lot from it. I learned a lot from it. And so that's a little bit about my journey and how I became an entrepreneur. Now, why would anybody want to own their own business? Well, it sounds exciting, and it is exciting. And people always have dreams. Everybody has dreams. But if you're one of those people that have a dream and don't move forward with it, or even if you have a goal, simple goals in your life that you don't do anything about, then owning a business might not be for you. Because what you don't see in the back end is all the hours, all the sacrifice, all the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. The disappointments, the not being able to pay rent sometimes, not being able to get a paycheck consistently, having to work janitor, front desk, sales, operations manager, administrator, and pretty much every single job and task that you can think of. So if you have any fear or any doubt that you're not able to handle all that, to handle the stresses that come with it, to handle the failures that are inevitable, then it's not for you, then don't do it. But if you're a dreamer, but behind that you're a natural hustler, if you have a natural fire that burns, if you dance to a different drum beat, then go for it. Because there's really nothing holding you back but yourself. And what it starts out with is believing in yourself. And that can be hard at times. Because as kids, we were all programmed a certain way by the way we were raised, by our surrounding environments, the things that we listened to, the things that we watched on television. And a lot of the ideas that we saw or that we heard, they stuck with us, probably cemented in our foundation without knowing. And as we get older, we start building up these walls based on some of these ideologies that we've learned along the way. And it gets harder and harder for other ideas or other people to get in there and penetrate, whether it's for the good or bad. But in order for us to grow, we have a responsibility not only to ourselves, but to those that we raise, to those that we lead, to break down those barriers. You gotta kill your self-limiting beliefs. You gotta delete these phrases. I can't, I'll try, and I won't. You gotta get them out of your thoughts, out of your vocabulary. Excuses are the #1 deaths of your dreams. And it's that time right now to shift our mindsets. We have to become the doers. We have to become the go-getters, the creators and the leaders of our own lives. We have to take the power back. Shout out Rage Against the Machine, best band of all time. Woo. No more walking around like sheep when we're lions. We need to eat. And it's our time right now to eat. This is our kingdom. But we have to own it, because you know what? There are other hungry lions out there that are looking to take what we have. And we have to remember that what we own and what we possess is only temporary, and it can be taken away like that. So that means we have to stay prepared. There should be no comfort in being comfortable. We have to keep moving, we have to keep building, and seize each day and every moment, whether it be in your workplace, your family, your relationships, or in school. Don't stop for goodness when you know that greatness awaits. So what's holding us back? The most common denominator in this equation would be fear. But fear ain't real. Fear is just a figment of our imagination. Fear is created by having expectations. The expectation of losing, the expectation of failing. But the reality of it is that if we don't take risk because fear is holding us back, then we could potentially miss a great opportunity. And some of those opportunities could be the greatest opportunities of our lives. We just don't know it because we're too scared to jump in. And sure, failure can and will occur, but that's all a part of the process of becoming successful. But I have yet to meet one single person that has not failed more times than they have been successful. And I realize that all this is easier said than done. But all this starts and stems from belief. And it's just like building a body to be fit. It takes practice, discipline, consistency, major work. You'll have rough days, that's inevitable. Trust yourself enough to know that you will heal. Because when it rains, we're all optimistic that we'll see the sun again. And another important thing is confidence. Now, confidence is an important tool in every aspect of life. To me, without confidence, you are not complete. And let me explain. If you have a task, especially an important task or a high-level task, you need every ounce of confidence to accomplish that. Here's an example. A pilot needs to be super confident that he or she is going to take off, fly a plane, and land his or her passengers safely onto the tarmac. Without confidence, we may cruise on autopilot, but we may limit ourselves from further elevation or accomplishing our dreams. We all have confidence in certain areas of our lives. We just have to harness that same level of confidence into every aspect of our lives, especially the important ones, especially our dreams and our goals. So I'm going to challenge everyone watching, including myself, to practice this simple phrase when it comes to a new challenge. I can do this, I will do this, and I will be the best at it. Practice this as a daily affirmation and speak that shit into manifestation. Speak that shit into existence. I do this whenever I have a new big challenge because like most people, there are doubts, there are insecurities that I have, and I gotta remind myself of where I am today and how I got there. And it's through the confidence that I've built in myself, the mindset that I changed. And it's these simple things that help me and that trigger me to go into the right direction. And if you guys have any questions, concerns, if you guys need any help, or if you guys can't fathom this at all, which is perfectly fine, leave some comments down below because I'd be glad to hear everything and I'd be glad to help as well. That's what I do and that's what I love to do. I'm here for you as much as I am for myself because I know that I love helping people, but in turn, I'm helping myself because I get to learn a little bit more about myself with each of these topics. So who's with me? Let's start moving forward together. Let's start dominating our lives one day at a time. I hope this helps. So my first video like this, I know it's a lot of talking. I hope this has helped at least one person. If so, then I feel good. So until next time, my name is Ren. This is Hustle and Dad. Remember to subscribe, pound that like button. Peace.